the vital link between the dangers to be seen and the decision-making process of the brain. The eyes are all important, but how much more important are they when heavy rain falls on the race course, as here at the Grand Prix of Monaco? Today you'll see them running Europe, and North America, and South America, and other continents around the world. But today nature has thrown a question mark over the Grand Prix of Monaco. As you can see, it's pouring rain. Despite that fact, 100,000 people and more are gathered here. Good afternoon. I'm Jim McKay, reporting from dockside, really, here in Monte Carlo. This race does not exist in a vacuum. That's the first thing I should point out. It is one of a season-long series of racing called the Grand Prix Circuit of the World. This is the 6th race of the season. And up to the point of today, the team of Tag McLaren seems to have a superiority over the others. They're running 1-2. Alain Prost of France is in first place. His teammate Niki Lauda of Austria is second. Let's bring in now our expert on this sport, a man who is celebrating his 20th anniversary of his first victory in the streets of Monte Carlo. That was the lesser race here, the Formula 3 race. Jackie Stewart, and gee, it's a long time ago. I was there.
It is, Jim. It's very nostalgic for me to come back those 20 years later, to be able to see the Formula 3 race that took place yesterday on this same circuit, and to have won this motor race 3 times, the Grand Prix. I look back with great pleasure. It's a wonderful event. It's so colourful, so glamorous, so exciting. Even on a day such as this, the electricity in the air, the people are so glamorous, the hotel's so nice, the restaurant's so grand. It's really a little look over your shoulder towards the real past, because it is an elegant race, and there aren't any more in the world left just like this.
There certainly aren't. Now to business. Unlike in the United States, they race in the rain, no matter what here. What kind of a difference is it going to make? What are the problems?
First of all, it's an extremely slippery situation. Keep in mind, these are normal roads used by normal trucks and buses and cars during the year, so there's oil slicks all the way around this racetrack that would not normally be on a race course like Indianapolis or Daytona. So that's going to mean a lot of cars slipping and sliding. However, for the really smooth drivers, people like Niki Lauda with enormous experience, I think you could see some just masterful driving. There are some young lions who are on their way up, an opportunity to show themselves today. But one thing for sure is that Monaco, in all the years that I've come here, the weather does change. And it's the fastest circuit in the world that I know at drying. So if this rain were to stop, we would be in a position to see a whole new motor race take place. And there's a dimension there that is very interesting, because the cars would then have to come in and change to dry tires.
Well, now, Jackie, this is unusual. They're watering down the tunnel so that the road surface will be the same inside the tunnel and out. That's a new one on me, certainly. We'll see how it turns out. Now to Sam Posey. He's in the pits.
This is a tire specially designed for running in conditions like this, where the track is soaking wet with rain. As you can see, it has deep grooves, leaving the water somewhere to go so that the tire will not aquaplane across the track. It is also made of a very, very soft compound, so that when it does come in contact with the track, it has exceptional stick. These grooves act as a sort of centrifugal pump on this tire to pump the water off of the surface of it. The result, the cars going along will be followed by enormous rooster tails of spray, which of course is going to limit visibility even more than it would be ordinarily. Now, the problem here at Monaco is that this track is notorious as the narrowest and twistiest, most difficult of all tracks on which to overtake. In fact, K.K. Rosberg told me yesterday, put it quite succinctly, I think. He said, overtaking isn't difficult here at Monaco, it's impossible. And frankly, in the opening laps, with all that, and the spray coming off the tires, blinding the other drivers behind you, I think this race may be among the most difficult ever run.
The car leaves the start-finishing line and heads off towards the first corner on the racetrack, Saint-Devote, then up a very fast part of the racetrack to the Hotel de Paris, and then into the famous Casino Square, down to the Mirabeau, to the old station hairpin, and then to the Mediterranean called the Portier, into the longer tunnel nowadays, through the chicane, into the Tobacconist turn, round the swimming pool turns to the Rascasse, then to the No Gas, and then back to the start-finishing line.
A tour of the course. There's Prince Renier, much different from the old days when Princess Grace was at his side. They'll be racing around the harbor very soon now, because they're on a final warm-up lap in the rain, which is falling really about as hard as it's fallen all afternoon. Here they are. There's Alain Prost in number 7. The black car going by was Nigel Mansell, who will be beside him on the first row. A field of 20 cars qualified from 27 cars that came here originally. Jackie, this has to be a pretty tough situation. You can see those rooster tails. How in the world do you see anything out there?
Well, Jim, you really can't see. It's no word of a lie that you can't see 30 or 40 meters in front of you, and when you're doing 130 or 40 miles an hour, that's a pretty impossible task. Visibility is almost impossible because the driver is so low on the racetrack and the spray is so big.
All right, I've mentioned that Alain Prost is the pole sitter here in number 7, the tag McLaren. Next to him, the black car will be Nigel Mansell in a John Player special. In the second row, we'll have the 2 Ferraris of René Arnoux, number 28, and Michele Alboreto in number 27. In the third row, it will be the 2 Renault cars, number 16, Derek Warwick of Great Britain, and number 15, Patrick Tambay of France. Then in the fourth row, and this is important, we have number 8, Niki Lauda of Austria, second at the moment in the battle for the World Championship to his teammate Alain Prost. We should expect him to move up. Now remember, points are awarded in this fashion. The winner of the race will receive 9 points. Second place, 6 points. Then 4, 3, 2, 1. Only the first 6 finishers to receive points in the year-long battle for the World Championship. There you see Mansell on the right of your screen, number 12. Again, Prost in the red and white car, number 7. The noise level increasing. They should go any time now. Any time. There's the red light. Watch for the green. There they go. They're racing in the rain in Monte Carlo. The Renault is the yellow and white car. Almost an incident there, right on the start. And we've got one car stopped. It's the current world champion, Nelson Piquet, did not get his car started. Was being pushed. And there we've got a shot already. Not even into the first hill. We've got number 2.
Both Renaults are out, Jim.
Yep. Warwick is out, the yellow and white car there.
That's him stepping out of the car. He's hurt his leg
hurt
there.
His left leg or knee.
And of course he was lying third in the World Championship, so that's a serious situation. I suspect they may well perhaps stop this at the end of this lap if they can't clear all of the cars away, although we've seen in previous years they're very good at that. Alain Prost got a healthy lead over Mansell.
Yeah, there they are going through what used to be the railroad station turn. Now it's Lowe's Hotel. They'll be going down, taking that right turn, and now headed for the sea, headed for the Mediterranean. They'll take another right turn here and then go into the tunnel. There's another driver being taken off. That's Tambay. So both Renault drivers appear to be injured, at least some, and his legs look like they're in pretty bad shape from what you can tell. Obviously, he can't stand up. There go the 2 leaders through the tunnel for the first time. And now along the seawall, you can see how hard it's raining here a little bit in this shot. The rooster tail behind Prost as he comes through the chicane for the first time. And then just behind him, Mansell. Now here come the 2 Ferraris, Arnoux first, and they're Alboreto. They're headed for the tobacconist turn.
Quite tentatively through the chicane that first lap. Now they're going through the tobacconist corner. We're high above the cars here, so you really can't see the spray as the drivers see it, but it's very dense at this stage. Alain Prost seems to have had his lead narrowed, and there's Warwick, Derek Warwick. He seems to be perfectly all right, pointing across the track. He seems perfectly good. That limp seems to have been no great problem for him, but they're now going past the start-finishing line on the end of the first lap. Yellow flag still flashing, but they've cleared the racetrack tremendously, Jim.
Understand Tambay will be taken to the hospital. We'll be back. Helicopter based aboard a yacht. Stavros Niarchos' yacht, parked here in the harbor of Monte Carlo. It's got priceless works of art in the staterooms. You've been on that yacht, Jack.
A magnificent yacht. Just a great example, probably the finest yacht in the world. This one here is just another yacht that has all the luxury and all the trimmings that people love to have that go to nice places.
Flowers everywhere. Every yacht seems to be flooded with flowers. Some florists must be making a fortune this weekend. Look at this. How's this for a dining room aboard ship?
This is the yacht of Mansell Rogier and Aziz Rogier. That's the young man you see there. They are involved with the TAG McLaren team. It's their engine, and that's Mansell along with me on board the boat. A magnificent yacht.
That, of course, was earlier on when the sun shone bright on the old Monaco home away from home. Right now, the rain's still pouring down. Prost still leading, but Niki Lauda has moved ahead of Alboreto on Ferrari. And he's closing in on Arnoux.
Keep in mind that you've got to go over zebra crossings or pedestrian crossings. You're looking at one right now, and the paint is much slippier than the actual black top of the road surface. Now there's Lauda really within striking distance of Arnoux. He's really, of course, Arnoux with all the spray, he'll only get the occasional glimpse of Lauda, but of course the marshals will be showing a blue flag from time to time around the track. blue means that you may have to move over. There's a car in close proximity who may be trying to pass. So flag marshalling here in Monaco at a high standard normally. You may well be seeing a blue flag very soon.
Flying along the seawall into the chicane now, coming up right here. A little switch left and right.
Just a flick, Jim. Very difficult indeed. And look at the spray there. You can hardly see Lauda behind. He can hardly see Arnaud in front. As we look down at the cars, the spray does not look as bad, but if you're low on the ground, it's extraordinarily bad. The most treacherous, nerve-wracking, and dangerous conditions that we ever drive on. It used to terrify me.
It's a virtual rooster tail, as in a Gold Cup powerboat. You could see it just then.
Well, in fact, in a lot of cases, you're following the wheel tracks of the car in front. That is your direction.
And he'd best be going the right way.
Exactly, but if he does go the wrong way in the faster part of the circuit where they're now entering, you really are depending on that man doing the right thing.
Niki Lauda making a bid to move into third place in the Grand Prix of Monaco. There they go on the home straight. Now taking the right turn. That's where the accident was, right there on the first lap, involving the two Renaults.
And there goes the blue flag.
There's the move over flag, and here he comes.
What a
Niki
move.
Lauda moving from 8th place to 3rd place on a race course where overtaking or passing another car is more difficult, I suppose, than any course in the world.
Very difficult indeed. He has to find a place where he can see, and he pulled out. He couldn't stay in the draft because slipstreaming is of no benefit here, but he had to stay out where he could see.
What a story is Niki Lauda of Austria. Twice world champion, came back from an accident in which he was terribly burned, came back the same season and back, and now with 21 Grand Prix all-time wins, is within 6 of Jackie Stewart's record. Tremendous. Jackie, talk to him.
You must look back and ask yourself many questions about your past racing career. What does it look like to you now looking back?
I tell you,
Really comfortably.
But the McLaren teammates are still 1-2 in this race and in the World Championship. Each of them has won 2 races so far this year. Sam Posey has some thoughts on that.
In most sports, the word teammate means somebody who's on your side, an ally. In the world of Grand Prix racing, your teammate may be your bitterest enemy. Look at it this way. Suppose you're beaten by a driver from another team. It may be that he had the better car. But if you're beaten by your own teammate, you've got to admit he was just the better man. And in this world of superheated egos and inflated salaries for the very top men, you don't ever want to have to admit that. Now, look at the race as it's proceeding right now. Niki Lauda, Alain Prost, both driving for the same team, Team McLaren. They each have designs on the World Championship. And you can bet that at this stage of the race, what they most want in this race is to beat the other man, their own teammate.
Jackie, how much does a top driver make in this sport?
Well, Lauda would make about $3.5 million, which is a lot more than his American colleagues because there's multinational car companies involved in Grand Prix racing.
Well, right now he's being pushed. Look, here comes Senna. Young Senna of Brazil. Yes, he's passed Niki Lauda. Senna is a 2nd place in the race.
A very positive move from a very young driver. He was in Formula 3 last year, Jim. He almost dominated the sport last year in Formula 3 racing. He's adapted in very difficult conditions here in Monte Carlo to pass a master.
This could be quite a story as he moves on a lap, approach the leader. The rain continues to fall at the same rate in Monte Carlo, and now the battle for 3rd is closing in on Jacques Lafitte. There goes Niki Lauda past him in car number 8. Now, Lafitte is a lap down, so don't worry about him, that yellow and white car. But there goes Arnoux, and there is Beloff just behind him. A 3-way battle for 3rd place in the race. The move-over flag being given there. Now, here they come. Niki Lauda. And here is Arnoux passing the slower car, and just behind him, Beloff. Well, this is tough stuff, because there's a turn right there. Beloff tucking in behind, playing it safe.
Yeah, Beloff is now taking him going up the hill, which is a brave move. He did that very maturely for his age and his experience. He came out of the spray and picked Lafitte off very carefully. Arnoux pushing very hard now. He's certainly... Oh, and there's somebody spun at Niki Lauda, spun off.
Yes, there
Niki
he is,
Lauda.
right in front of the Hotel de Paris and Cartier's jewelry store.
No, he hasn't kept his engine running, and that's a big problem for him now, because unless he has or is a hazard, no, he's going to push the car himself. He knows the regulations.
Or
Hang on, go on. Oh, he's giving it up.
Giving it up.
He's giving it up. He's giving it up.
So Lauda is out of the battle for third place. We now have Alain Prost leading the race as he has been. Young Ayrton Senna in second place. Arnoux of Ferrari in third place. And then young Belloff. Young Mr. Belloff of Germany, Stefan Belloff at age 26. The race going on as they push him past the jewelry store.
Niki Lauda could have been pushed away there and perhaps restarted that engine, but the regulations definitely only says that's possible if he's a hazard to safety, and I don't believe he was in that case, but it could have been that Niki did have a mechanical problem in that car and knew it, and therefore just switched off the electrics and walked away. But he did lose the back end about there. Really, the back end came round, and Niki did not hit the barrier at all. That's what leads me to believe there may be something else wrong with this car, because he just got out of it and closed the office.
No question about that. So the standings now, we have two real world-class veterans running first and third in Prost there and Arnoux, but running with them in second and fourth, two young Turks on the World Grand Prix circuit, Senna of Brazil and Stefan Belloff of Germany. A fascinating race in the rain. More to come, of course, and we'll be back. Right now, we're going to go to Al Michaels live at the United States Outdoor Track and Field Championships in San Jose. The sun was shining earlier this week. Monte Carlo, you know, seems to be modeled after someone's favorite dream. The harbor, the castle on top of the ancient rock of Monaco. Earlier, the Ferraris and Rolls-Royces pulled up to the Hotel de Paris in greater numbers than the taxi cabs. The jewelry on the women, well, it outdazzles the jewelry in the stores here, really. It's dreamlike, all right. But even more so today as they battle through the streets in the rain. The standings, well, Prost still leads in the McLaren, followed by Senna of Brazil, then René Arnoux in the Ferrari, and in fourth place, Stefan Belloff, who came from dead last in the starting grid. Here is the battle for third place in the race. The red car, the Ferrari of René Arnoux, the French driver, being pursued by the young German Belloff. Belloff in the Tyrrell car, the team that Jackie Stewart drove the World Championships on. If it had been dry here, it would have been difficult for them to be competitive because they're the only what they call normally aspirated car in the race. But tell us the story now, Jackie. The situation changes in the rain, right?
Well, because the rain and the slippery conditions, and Belloff was trying to duck in going up the hill. Can he do it? No, René Arnoux is using all of the road. Stefan Belloff will have to have patience here. Arnoux is not the easiest man to pass in his Ferrari. The Ferrari probably has more than 700 horsepower to play, with the Tyrrell car with the Ford Cosworth engine is running only with about 500 horsepower, but that 200 horsepower advantage of the Ferrari is washed away because he can't apply that power to the slippery road conditions. So really we're seeing the Tyrrell car a lot more flexible because a turbo engine doesn't respond as instantaneously as a normally aspirated engine in slippery, wet conditions, for that matter in any conditions. So it's a smoother power application for young Belloff, who I have to say, Jim, is driving with great maturity.
Now they're in the comparatively dry area of the tunnel. Perhaps the Ferrari should have a short advantage at that point. Now they're out of it again into the chicane. There comes Arnoux and Stefan Belloff. So few places really that you can pass on this circuit.
And particularly with the spray, I say again, you know, it's difficult looking from a high position as we are now to appreciate the difficulty and visibility for Senna right now. He's down at the track level with his head just
Belloff.
Yeah, so difficult. You can see it there. Almost impossible to see the rear of a car in front.
This is the slowest part of the circuit here, going around the restaurant. And then another tight right-hand turn here that leads to the home straight. And
Patrese.
out of the car is Patrese. Well, that's a good break for those who have been lapping him. He's been sort of a problem on the race course. And now, here they come into this tight right-hander. This is where the Renaults crashed on the first lap. They're trying to make the move coming up the hill. And the move-over flag being given to Arnoux, but no, he's holding his position.
I prophesy that if Belloff passes Arnoux, he will drive away from him. He will be much faster on the track, and he will then go after Senna, which could indeed be quite a challenge for him. Here he's going to try on the inside, going down to the Mirabeau. He's going to do it, but no, he's... Oh, Arnoux he's
very
moving
tight.
right over on him.
And he made it.
Very well he made it.
Oh, a remarkable pass.
Not being helped at all by Mr. Arnoux, I have to tell you.
Well, Belloc was right up on the curb, and as you said, that's not the place you want to be in the rain.
No, it's not the place you want to be, but there he goes.
Oh, look out.
And you watch. He'll draw away now, Jim. You'll see him streak away. He will take advantage. And here's the pass again, Jim, coming down to the Mirabeau. Belloc took the inside to the corner. Arnoux starts to move over, as you can see now, knowing that he's there. Then he realizes, and look, he's right up on the sidewalk, right up on the curb. He stayed with it. Arnoux had to go out, and he made his pass. I'm sure they had contact. They would be kissing wheels going around there. No easy move.
And when in the future those two meet on the racing circuits of the world, Arnoux will know that the young man doesn't give very easily.
No, and that's a very important psychological effect, I can assure you, which is used from time to time.
So now we've set the situation as far as third place is concerned. Remember, we still have Prost in the lead up front and young Senna behind him. In the blue rain gear, that's Jackie Ickx, once known as the most proficient rain driver in Formula One, now race director here in conference, and for a good reason. It's raining harder than it has rained all day long in the streets of Monte Carlo. Conceivably, this race could be stopped. That very seldom happens in Grand Prix Formula One motor racing, but it could happen if the danger is just too great. That was the leader that went through. 27, there's a back-marking car. But look at this, number 19. That is Ayrton Senna, a 24-year-old driver from Brazil in second place and closing in on the leader. Closing in at the rate of about 4 seconds. There's the red flag. They're going to stop the race.
The end of the race.
Well, it could be resumed, of course. Could be resumed, Jackie. And if so, they would be on the starting grid in the order in which they stood on the lap previous to the one on which the red flag was put out. There, however, is the leader, perhaps the winner of the race, Alain Prost, in a McLaren.
Now you're seeing conditions that are absolutely abysmal. They are very heavy. You could have got aquaplaning. You could have had a major accident. The clerk of the course, enormously experienced Jackie Ickx. I would have to respect his judgment in this. He's earned that position. He made the decision in the interest of safety, and you can't complain about that.
Oh, and now they're holding a checkered flag. I would assume that means that the race is over. The race is finished. Alain Prost has won the Grand Prix of Monte Carlo. However, there will not be full points awarded. They will only have half points. In other words, rather than 9 points for a victory, he will get 4.5 points, but that will increase his season-long lead for the World Championship. There's young Senna of Brazil with his hand in the air, a happy young man because he finished second in this Grand Prix. Now, the reason that they only get half points is that they only completed 31 out of a scheduled 78 laps. The rule says that you must complete at least 3/4 of the scheduled laps or 2 hours in time for full World Championship points to be awarded. Here's another look at the crash of Nigel Mansell, losing it coming up the Sainte-Devote Hill and knocking himself out of competition and out of the lead. He had just taken the lead from Alain Prost of France. From here on, it was all Prost's race. Mansell, with the wing askew in the rear of his car, simply couldn't continue at this point. In fact, one of his tires was flat. The right rear tire was flat. As Jackie indicated at the time, he was driving through instinct. He was out of it, but still the race driver kept going until Prost came along, passed him on the inside, and took the lead again. Now here is Jackie with the winner.
Did the checkered flag and the red flag come perhaps too late, or did you feel the decision was correct at that moment?
I think it's the best decision I've never seen in Formula One. I think it's very safe, and it's too much rain. It's too wet now, and it was very dangerous to follow the race like that.
Do you think the decision might have come a few laps earlier, or is it at the correct time?
No, I think it's a correct time because you can have a very big shower for 1 or 2 laps and after stop. I think you see it's finished. You know, we can restart, and it was a very good decision at the right moment, and the right moment for me too.
Well, now Jackie's moving over to Jackie Ickx, the race director, a man who won the 24 Hours of Le Mans 5 times in his driving career.
Jackie, a very big decision for you as director of the course to stop the race, something that I'm sure you didn't take lightly.
I guess it's not an easy decision for the clerk of the course, and it's even more difficult if you have to decide with people eventually who doesn't know what it's to drive a Formula One car on the wet. Having that experience and having followed the first 30 laps of the race and having that big shower of water, I just felt it was just the right point to stop the race and trying to avoid a major problem. So I felt as being also not only an organizer but also a race driver, and I think this decision was the right one.
A good decision.
Thank you.
Well, the raindrops keep falling on his head, but the champagne shower is what's important to Alain Prost of France, driving for the British team McLaren. He has won his third Grand Prix race of the 1984 season. Now here are the top 6 finishers with the points awarded. Remember, they got only half points because of the foreshortened race today. As for the season-long Grand Prix standing, well, Prost has lengthened his lead over his teammate Niki Lauda for first place, and Arnoux has taken sole possession of third from Derek Warwick. We're told that Patrick Tambay, involved in the crash in the first turn of the race, has suffered a stress fracture of his left leg. So this is Jim McKay with Jackie for the U.S. Outdoor Track and Field Championships.